gonna give you guys my honest thoughts on this pattern and if I think it's worth making or not. Today, I wanted to do a pattern review for you guys. It's a pattern that I have made previously and I wanted to make a second version. So I'm gonna be showing you guys my process making the pattern, what I think about it, if I think it's a good pattern that I would recommend, what level I think it's at, those types of things, and then of course me crocheting it and the final result. So the pattern I'm going to be reviewing today is the Valla Vest by a creator named edsfart, and she has a number of patterns, I think 4 or 5 now, different tops and even a dress pattern, which is stunningly beautiful, and they're all made to measure to my knowledge, although I've only made the Valla Vest so far. I really like her content. She lives in Australia and has a van that she travels around in and crochets and creates pattern for her business right now. So she's a lot of fun. You should definitely check her out on Instagram and any other platforms that she may have. So the Valla Vest that I made previously, that I will show you guys here soon, I made last summer shortly after the pattern was released, and I used a bamboo blend yarn. So it's definitely more of a summer feel vest. It's very light and airy. I used primarily pink, which was a lot of fun. And now that it's kind of spring, I wanted to make another one, but this time I thought I would use a wool blend yarn so that it could be a little bit versatile from winter with some layering to spring that still has a little bit of warmth, but not too much. So let me show you guys the yarn that I'll be using today. Here's our yarn we'll be using today. You guys may or may not know, depending on if you follow me on Instagram, I've mentioned a couple times that I'm really trying to work through stash yarn this year. I know, that's always a goal, but for real this time, I'm trying to do it. So this, let me tell you a little bit about this yarn. I got these 3 yarns. They were a little bigger. I've already used some at a Norwegian festival that I went to. There just was a lot of celebration of Norwegian culture, a lot of cultural foods and decor and artwork. And there was one stand that had a number of different knitting books from Norway, as well as some different knit projects that you could purchase. And they also had some yarn because this lovely lady that was selling them has been to Norway. She comes back and forth, and so she picked up some yarn while she was there that she was no longer going to be using and was selling it. So this, I don't know a lot about it. I don't have labels for it, but it is a yarn that was produced in Norway, and it's either 100% wool or a wool blend. It's definitely a little bit scratchier and a little bit rougher, but definitely going to be warm and pretty fun to work with. So I have these colors that I've been wanting to use on something. Additionally, I have this cream color. This is also some type of wool blend, but again, I don't have a label for it because I actually thrifted this yarn. And when I bought it, it was in several skeins. And I would highly recommend check out your yarn a little bit more thoroughly when you buy it thrifted, because I didn't. And I made the mistake of purchasing it, and down the skein was a big slash on every single one. The yarn had been separated into strips about yay big, but I was too desperate and I loved it too much, so I actually tied it together 3 skeins worth. Some were worse than others. So there is little knots along the way. You know, it wouldn't be great for a project that needs a lot of smoothness. See there, hopefully. But this is a little bit of a chunkier project. I feel like it'll blend in fine, and I'm not that picky about it. And I feel like it goes really well with the gray and tricolor. This white kind of matches the cream here pretty well. And I felt like I didn't have enough yarn for just using these colors. So I'm excited to be working this in. I was hoping I would find a project for it, and it's really pretty. And again, a little bit of a rougher wool, but still quite warm. And so that is the yarn we're using today, all from the stash, which I'm really excited about because that will be some yarn less in the winter pile of yarn that I have. So without further ado, let's get started on the Valla Vest. I have a little crochet montage now for you guys to watch as I'm working on this first panel of the vest. But here you can see me taking some notes on the project. I like to do this typically documenting the yarn I'm using, or at least the weight of yarn with like a made to measure like this, as well as the hook size. I think it's especially pertinent when doing a made to measure pattern. In this setting, I am taking measurements, obviously, so I'm documenting all of those so I can reference them later and be sure that my project is matching those measurements. I find that it's super handy, so I definitely highly recommend having a little crochet designated journal where you can take notes on your current patterns that you're working on, or maybe me any pattern ideas that you may have or stitches that you come across that you really enjoy. And if you like to freehand things and you want to be able to make more than one, it is nice to take notes of it and what you're doing, as well as just have a little spot where you can sketch any projects you're working on or color combos you're using, etc., etc. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I feel like there's something special about crocheting outside. Not necessarily in direct sunlight because that gets hot, but just being in nature and working on a slow art like crochet is, I feel like is so satisfying and just extra special. So if you guys also can relate to that feeling of just wanting to sit outdoors when working on a project, let me know, because I don't know if I am alone in this and it's just that I like nature and I like crocheting, so combining them is super fun, or if this is like a common occurrence that people that crochet like to do it outside. I don't know, but I also feel like it definitely gets the best video shots for a video like this. So I spent a big chunk of this day crocheting outside because it was absolutely gorgeous, and I got some really awesome video clips from it. All of these video clips that you've seen so far are basically from a one-day, like 24-hour session. I started this Friday night. Those were those kind of odd lighting shots, and then I worked on it essentially all day Saturday and into the evening. And this was, if you heard me mention at the beginning of the video, that first panel I made that I ended up having to frog. So I was really proud of myself for making this whole piece in, like, this whole front panel in one day, but then I did ultimately have to frog it all, so it was a little bit discouraging. Here you can see me, it's getting into evening, and I actually was trying to read and crochet at the same time, which is definitely a skill that I have been working on, so drop your tips below for that. I think this clip may now be the second version of the panel after I had to frog it and go back and restart. So from here on out, I believe is the actual pieces, because I'm pretty sure I finished that first panel in one full day. So that kind of shows me what you really can do when you set your mind to it. Obviously, it depends on the size of your yarn and your hook and your pattern and what size top you're making, but a lot can get done when you stay focused, which I struggle with. I sometimes feel like I'm like, why am I not crocheting enough? And it's because I'm literally not crocheting. I'm sitting around and crocheting here and there and getting distracted on my phone and doing other things and thinking about crocheting but not actively crocheting, and that's why sometimes it feels like it's slow when it's really just I'm not focusing on it. So here's this second panel just about done here, and yeah. Hello again. I'm sure you're thinking, why is she in the same outfit? Did she even crochet anything? And the truth is that I'm filming this after I already started the project. Just being transparent, folks. So, as you saw, I worked on the Valla Vest a lot. I actually spent pretty much a whole day on the front panel. Finished it, and it was just gonna be too small, too tight. I think it could have fit, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I did end up frogging the whole thing, which was really sad. But it's okay because it's going to be worth it. So it took me a little bit of time to get back into wanting to work on it, but I just finished the front panel. So let me show you guys. Here she is. I think I might need to back up a little bit. So here is the front panel. I know that it does not go with the red very well, but you can see that I used a lot of the colors. I did kind of a striping pattern, alternating between them all, but I'm really liking the result. It's definitely still going to be fairly fitted, but not as tight as the last one. I think it'll be nice because it should work for like a spring fall type of outfit and maybe winter. So she is done. Front panel complete. Like I said, I know this is kind of your guys' first close-up on the pattern. It's so pretty. So much fun texture going on here, and it's really cool how you can kind of make it your own with the color combos that you choose. Oh, I'm kind of winded for some reason, talking too excitedly. But I did this striping on the front, but I'm thinking on the back I'm gonna do more of color blocking. So I'm thinking I'll do these two side pieces with the tricolor yarn, and then for the straps I may go for the cream And then for this middle section, go for the gray. Now, obviously you can see the reason I have so little yarn is because I already used a bunch. So I'm hoping to use the rest of this, which may call for me to use less cream. If I don't use the rest of it, let me know some projects that I could just use a little bit of wool on, because I'm trying to use up the stash, remember? But once I finish the back panel, I will still need to join, and then there is an option to add a trim on the bottom and around the armholes and neck. I think I'm for sure gonna add the trim on the bottom and definitely do at least like a single crochet edging around the armholes and neck hole. One thing that about my pink one that I made last summer was that I felt like when I added the edging row to the neck, I felt like it brought it in just a little too much, where I didn't like the shape as much anymore. So I think for this one, I'm gonna keep it a little bit smaller to keep this shape, because I really like this shape. But I still think I would do the armholes and the bottom. So I can use up some more of this on that. We'll see if I get to use it all or not, but I'm really excited about it. So I'll definitely keep you guys up to date with how it goes. So as I said, this is also not only a fun crochet along process video, but also a pattern review. I'm gonna give you guys my honest thoughts on this pattern and if I think it's worth making or not. Let me tell you, 100% worth making. This pattern is incredible. I would say very beginner friendly, beginner that wants a challenge. Because it is a made to measure pattern, you do have to measure yourself, do a little bit of math, but I feel like Eden, which is the designer's name, I feel like Eden really does a good job outlining everything. I'm of course not going to be showing you the pattern because all the pattern rights belong to her and she is selling the pattern. I'm not going to be giving it away for free, but I do have it here to just reference as I'm giving you guys some feedback on it. A couple things I love is that this pattern is beginner friendly. The actual design of the pattern, the way she does it is genius because it's so easy to follow her instructions on measuring and matching how you're going to crochet your pattern to fit your body best. It's really cool. She takes you through the measurements and the math that you need for each section of the pattern. And then she has outlined, again, I'm not going to show you details of it, but she has outlined, depending on how big or small you're going to be making your vest, the row pattern changes. So you may see with mine, you may be able to notice there's some puff stitch rows followed by some double crochet and some mesh rows. And how many puff stitch versus double crochet versus mesh, how many in between changes based on the vest. It's not just a repeat these 5 rows over and over no matter what size you pick. It's actually, depending on the size, you may have more puff stitch rows or more double crochet rows than a smaller size. So it really also adds a uniqueness to every vest you make, which I really love. I feel like that's really cool that she has really worked to outline that and make sure that every size has a specific stitch regime to follow and it's not just crochet till it fits. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think that this is really fun. Another thing I really like about Eden's pattern is that she includes a lot of photos. I personally love having photos in the pattern because I'm a bit of an overthinker and I can start to question if I'm doing something right, if I'm just following the abbreviations, if it's not looking quite how I think it should look and there's no photo to reference, I can easily get confused. So she does a really great job showing a lot of side-by-side photos for each step. She also includes, because this pattern, not only is it made to measure, but you can use whatever size yarn you want, she includes photos of 2 different sizes of yarn and how that may make your pattern look different because you have more or less rows to fit each measurement, which is also really, really cool. Her photos really outline clearly the areas that I think would be easy to be confused by, especially as a beginner or maybe even early intermediate crocheter when you're just reading the words and they tell you to do something maybe you've never done, it doesn't make sense from where you're standing, even though it will in the end. Having the photo really helps guide you and make sure that you are doing it correctly. So I love that. She also includes stitch help, explains why she's using the stitches she is, has lots of arrows in the photos pointing to what she's talking about. So it really couldn't get any clearer. Her pattern is so well put together. that I feel like this, and I'm guessing her other patterns are like this because if she's done it once, she'll do it again, right? I feel like it is such a great pattern to follow if you are a visual learner, if you are a beginner, and if you're just looking for something easy to follow. It makes the project that much more enjoyable because you don't have to stop and worry and try and figure out, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't this looking like the one photo that I have? What do all these abbreviations mean? She makes sure that she outlines all her abbreviations really clearly. And I just really, really, really love this pattern. Obviously, I'm not quite finished with it, so I do want to come back when I have finished this second vest and make sure that I include all of my feedback and thoughts, so stay tuned for that. But those are my thoughts so far, having finished the whole first panel and already made one. So let's finish this vest and let's see if we have any other thoughts. But as of right now, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 stars, folks. Definitely check out her pattern. I'll have her shop linked in the description below if you want to check it out, as well as her Instagram. I gotta say, you guys, I love following her on Instagram. She's such a fun gal. She's got so much personality, so much energy. She doesn't hold back, and she's just such a fun person to get to see what her life is like, what her crochet journey is like. She's always traveling. She loves to be in the water. I don't know. And it's super fun as someone who lives in the US to also get to see what Australia is like. So if you're also into that and seeing what different countries are like that you don't live in, definitely give a follow. So I would highly recommend. It's really cool to see her come up with a pattern design and then share as she's working on that pattern. And she just has a lot of really beautiful customizable patterns available so that you can make something you love and that fits how you want it to. So check her out for sure. Now let's get back to crocheting. Bye. Okay, this is a really janky filming setup, but I just wanted to show you guys my progress on the back panel of the Valla Vest. It's coming along. It's kind of this tritone look, which I'm really excited about. I like the striping on the back, but I really want to do something different. So it's kind of going to be reversible, or I can wear it either way. I'm really going to be gambling if I'm going to get this middle panel finished with the gray though. My goal is to use up the gray and the tricolor yarn on this project, and it might have been a little too risky doing the middle panel with the gray because it is the one that I had the least amount of yarn for. So we'll see. This was the one I liked the least, so I kind of thought I'd tuck it on the side here and focus on the beige and gray, but we're gonna see if it works. I've got this much yarn left, and I need to make 2 puff row stitches. So I did resort to my little gray puff rows. I'm doing 3 yarn overs instead of 4 for my puff stitch. I don't know. I already went in and did this one singular row as the beige, even though it's a short row. Am I gonna have to undo it and redo one of the puffs on each side is beige too? I don't know what to do. Or should I just keep going wherever I don't know. I guess you'll find out. Hi, I have an update for you guys on the vest. Now, if I remember correctly, I did show you this panel, the front or back, whatever the day inspires, which I used the 3 colors and did kind of a striping effect. So I went back and forth between the gray, tricolor, and beige using minimal gray because that's the color I had the least of. And then I wanted to do the second back panel different so that, kind of a reversible, can do a few different things. So this is what we have. Let me just show you. Okay, so more like color blocks. This tricolor is definitely my least favorite of the 3, so I went in with that on the sides because it'll tuck under a little. And then I did the beige for the straps because they used the most yarn. And then I wanted to do this whole center panel with the gray, but I ran out. And yeah, I don't know if it just looks kind of stupid or if it's kind of fine and not a big deal and just a little bit quirky, but I didn't have any more, and I didn't really want to either. I gotta admit, I'm kind of a lazy crocheter sometimes, and I didn't want to either make this whole row beige and have it off center, but I also didn't want to undo it all, redo this one beige and then this one beige to match, and then have a bunch of gray left over. So this is what we have. This is what we're working with, and I think I like it. I'm not sure. Hard to know without actually being able to wear it. Just looking at it, I think I actually might like the stripes better. But again, it's hard to know without being able to wear them. I'm gonna work on weaving in some more of these ends, and then I'm gonna start working on joining and the edging trim. And I think that's gonna just bring it all together really nice, and we'll be able to wear it pretty soon. So just wanted to give you guys a little update before I go ahead and join this. And thanks for tuning in. I finished it. What do you think? And not only that, but it's literally reversible. I made it so that I can wear it either way, and I absolutely love the result. I hope that you love it too. What do we think? She's done. Is this about to be your new favorite pattern of the season? Because I think it's mine. Okay, now final thoughts on the pattern. Not gonna lie, I loved it. I hope you can tell why. I mean, come on, it's so cute. And it literally really only uses like 2 stitches, and I don't think it gets much easier than that. Like double crochet, know how to chain, and the puff stitch, which she outlines so clearly in the pattern. There's literally photo step-by-steps for every single stitch, plus like explanations, and she tells you all the ways to help you succeed when you're making it. So this is my final result. Another thing that she has in the pattern that's really cool is different options for the trim around all of the edges. For this vest, I did just opt for a single crochet border, partially because I wanted to do the dark color, and I actually ran out at the perfect time. I completed all of the edging and had about that much left, so I won at Yarn Chicken. But if I had had more, I may have done an extra row at least on like the outside of the arms, I think. But she offers another edging suggestion where you can do a single or double row of puff stitch, which also looks really cute, especially on the bottom edging, I feel like. But I kind of just wanted to stick with the really simple edging, and I like how it turned out. So I really like that she walks you through those different options. Her instructions for joining all the pieces are really clear. I really like the method that she uses. It's really straightforward and easy. No sewing, all crocheting. And honestly, the hardest part was just weaving in all my ends, but like that was a choice I kind of made by picking, you know, all the stripes and everything. Totally on me. I think I talked a lot about the pattern earlier already, but I really love how it's a front panel, back panel. You can either make them the same like I did so that it's reversible, or you can make one with a higher or lower neckline, which is really nice. But all in all, the way she breaks it down is really awesome. Uses some math, walks you through it really, really well, so it's not hard. Coming from someone that is math challenged, take my word for it. One thing that I am still planning to do is to block the vest. I really love how it fits. However, right now it's like kind of bunching right here because it's stretching over the bust, and this feels like more curved than I want it to, so I want to block it so that hopefully it'll lay flat all the way down and be a little bit more square shaped. So hopefully I will remember to film a little update once it's blocked. So I can't speak to that aspect of things, but otherwise I love how it fits. The fit turned out awesome. I did tell you guys that I did have to restart it because I started a little bit too small, but I feel like that's kind of just easy mistake to make with a made to measure pattern, is which measurement to use when there's a fine line of options. And I feel like she does make it really clear that because it's a repeating pattern, you want to be really careful how you measure it, because it could really easily be too tight because you're missing like 5 rows, or be too big because you're adding like 5 rows on the front and back. So I feel like she does talk about that really well, and it honestly was not a big deal to me to restart it. Totally worth it, to be honest. But from everything that I can remember, now having made 2 of these vests, I think it's a really, really awesome pattern. She has totally made it beginner friendly, so if you're a little bit intimidated by a made to measure pattern or starting to make your own clothing, I feel like this is a really great pattern to start with, even though it's probably labeled advanced beginner, intermediate, I'm not sure. She does such a great job breaking it down that I really feel like a beginner can follow it as long as you take the time to understand understand each step that she's outlining and follow all of her work so that you are on track. But I love the result. This pattern is great for making summer pieces and fall/spring pieces like such. And it's great for layering. It's great for a little summer fun, cover up, whatever you are looking for. I definitely highly recommend checking out this pattern by edsfart because she's an amazing designer. She has several other really wonderful looking patterns that I have yet to try, but I cannot wait to do so. And yeah, she's just somebody worth following and supporting, and this pattern is awesome. So if you feel at all inspired by this piece and want to make your own, go check out her page. And also it's really great for stash yarn. If you like this video, go ahead and like the video below, maybe leave a comment on what your favorite part was, or if you think you're going to try out this pattern, and subscribe for more crocheting content, crochet pattern reviews and recommendations, and to get to see a little more into my fiber world. Thanks so much for following, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.